Let's talk about New Babylon in Hague. Where did the name come from?
Well, the old building, it used to be a building from the 70s, a structuralistic building. And that was the name Babylon. It already had that name. And now we called it New Babylon because we extended it. Also, we preserved the existing building. We tried to demolish as less as possible. And expanding the footprint, we were able to densify, to embrace the existing building, with also adding program, by example, 330 apartments, residential program. What I think important about the project as well is that this location is adjacent to one of the most important transportation hubs in the city. And I believe in those areas for each city to densify and to try to create new public space and densify those parts of the city.
What was it about the old building they wanted to keep?
Well, there was also from a kind of sustainable point of view that it would have been much easier to demolish the existing building. I think we would have been finished years earlier. But I think we've got nowadays a lot of buildings from the 70s, and you can give them a new life if you do it on a proper way.
As far as sustainability in the future, how tightly is this building linked in with the rest of the development? I guess it's pretty well joined in with the rest of that structure. I guess we can really kind of think of this as one building now, can't we? This whole thing.
Yes, but it's kind of the theme is the dialogue between old and new. The existing building was very dark and was introvert, and our goal was to make an extrovert building that has a dialogue with the new public space around it. Partly we renovated the existing building, except the corner here, and that was that's a hotel, at that time owned by a French company, and so we built on top of the hotel, and that's the only part with the old facades. Still, the existing building we changed the facades, but keeping it with the same proportions as the existing, the former facades.
Is it totally self-standing still from the rest of the structure? It does not depend on the new structure, and the new structure does not depend on the old structure?
No. It's completely, only the base, the plinth, we were able to renovate that one. I'm very happy that we could add to the residential program because in fact, at the other side there's a new square adjacent to the central station. By densifying this area, we were able to pay a new parking garage underground, and so creating public space. And it used to be a very introvert building where in the evening people were afraid to walk there or to go to the parking garage behind it. And now there's residential, there's a housing project, we've got the hotel, the commercial plinth, the shopping center, offices, multi mixed use building.
When I started getting into the subject of skyscrapers in other countries, of tall buildings and high rises, I was kind of surprised by Rotterdam and just how much interest there was in the subject, of course, because it's mostly a new city. Is that true? Is there an especially great interest in high rises in the Netherlands?
Yes, I think so. There is, because I think people acknowledge now and realize that we've got really to densify our cities. We've got, if you look at the Netherlands, the suburbs, we've got a mobility problem with all the traffic jams, and in fact, Amsterdam, Rotterdam, and The Hague, they are in fact connected by all the suburbs. And we're losing, there's no more green, so you can't continue to expand because we're a really small country. So the solution is to create higher buildings, I think, in the major cities. Rotterdam has its history, and of course, Most of the tall buildings in the Netherlands are being made in Rotterdam. Although The Hague, now the skyline of The Hague has changed completely since 10 years now.
And that's kind of interesting because there is some fear in cultures, certainly in England, when the idea of the Shard came out about high-rises and what they would do. Is there that kind of fear, or much more of an embrace in the Netherlands of tall buildings?
Yeah. Well, we've also got our museum, that's Amsterdam. It's now the whole canal area is on the UNESCO list. I think if you look at the city of Amsterdam, it's much more difficult to have high-rise because people are really, how does that interfere with your historic heritage? I think the Shard is really special that it was possible to realize the building. It's really, I think it's good because cities are dynamic, they have got to change, they alter, and you must be very careful with your heritage and your historical buildings, but still you've got to move on to the future. So I think the Shard, I really like that's been the possibility that, because it takes a lot of effort to be able to realize such a building in such a cultural
considering
context.
Considering the fear they overcame of high-rises, does the Shard in London make it easier for you to sell a higher building in your own country?
Probably. I think if you look at Europe in general, we've got a lot of historic cities, and that's a good example, I think. Yeah. And of course, you should be very careful where do you accept, or where is the possibility to make high-rise and where you shouldn't do it.